This is the OSU Roundup, and joined by OSU head coach Mike Gundy. Let's start with this. Tylan Wallace, another big game, couple of big long touchdown catches, and now he's tied for the national lead in touchdown receptions. What about his development, or maybe what skills he has surprised you? Things you've seen now that maybe 2 years ago you didn't see coming?
I think the big thing from the first two games is he looks faster. We saw him run away from the defense in Oregon, and then again a couple nights ago. And those guys had angles on him, and maybe they're not as fast, but he sure looked like he was running fast. So I hope that's true. He's really young, so he's still developing, and his speed may be increasing. But as we talk about with other guys, we mentioned this with Chuba a week ago, he's really serious about football. He's focused in his work and his practice and his training, his preparation. And so you're seeing him do some things that he didn't do last year, and hopefully it's a great sign for his season.
Is your team's speed maybe a little bit better perhaps than what we've seen across the board in previous years? The only reason I say that is, and we've only played 2 games, but boy, there's been a lot of running away from people, especially on offense these first 2 games. Do you have a knack? Maybe it's a little bit better, or has it just maybe been the opponents? Do you know yet?
I mean, it seems like it's a little better. We'll know more in 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to play some people. Tulsa's back end runs better than probably either one of the teams we played. And then as we get into conference play, we'll be able to, it'll be a really good barometer for where our team is speed-wise.
You know, speaking of that, and this is almost a ridiculously simple question, but when do you know how good you are? I mean, when do you really get a feel to say, I know we're really good, or I know we're above average? When do you know? When do you know?
The middle of October, once you've played 3 or 4 conference games, and by the middle of October, we have generally already played a team or two that's ranked in the top 20 in most cases. That'll give you a good feel for where you're at as a team. The other part of that is it gives you a chance to judge whether you can overcome a tough game or not get tied up on a huge win. And last year we didn't do a good job of that. So I think the middle of October you kind of get the best of both worlds and gives you a feel where you're at as a team.
Week 2 compared to week 1, what did you see defensively that you liked?
We still tackled really well, in my opinion. We missed 2 tackles on the one quarterback run draw that he ran for long ways. But other than that, for the most part, we were in an athletic position, and we tackled really well. Our offensive line play in the last game wasn't as good as the first game. And the defensive front in the first game was much more equipped than the last game. So we lost our focus. Could be me, the way I prepared them, I'm not sure. But those are the 2 things that I noticed. Spencer continues to get a little bit better. He missed a couple throws that he had hit up there, but overall his concept of our offense has been good. And we're in pretty good proximity and coverage on the edges with the corners. We're around those guys. So as I said, we'll know a lot more in a month, but those are things I noticed through the first 2 games.
It was the 3rd hottest home opener since you've been head coach. The heat index was close to 100, and it wasn't a very comfortable day. By 6 o'clock, it might have been a little bit better, but not much, and yet there was a sellout crowd. What's that say to you and the guys?
I mentioned that in my press conference, that it's really important for the university, and I'm glad that we have that type of support in 100 and whatever degree day. And when you pack 55,000 people in a stadium, it makes it even worse with body heat, and you have the heat coming off the surface, which was 135 degrees that the players were on during the game. These guys put a lot of work in, and they're really quality young men. We take a lot of pride in that here in our culture, and so they deserve that side of it. And we live in a world today where attendance is declining somewhat, especially in basketball. You see it, and it's kind of scary. And then even in football, it's going down some. People have so many other things going on. They're raising their kids. They got, dance practice or soccer practice or whatever it may be. sometimes they just don't show up. So I was very appreciative of our crowd and our fans from the standpoint that even in the heat they showed up. They need to know the impact that makes, not only on Oklahoma State football, the athletic department, but the university. When your football team is performing and the fans are happy and they're fun to watch, and you go to the game and you say, you know what, if we play good, we can win. I don't care who it is. It just gives people a good feeling. So the campus feels good. Your enrollment stays up. We're like 4,200 this year. There's studies out there that'll show that if your football team is declining, enrollment declines, and then fundraising declines, and then the overall feeling of the campus and everything. So that was a long answer, but an appreciative answer to our fans for being there and supporting the team, which in general supports the university.
That's head coach Mike Gundy. I'm Dave Hunziker. Thanks for watching.